As basketball has evolved, analytic stats have become increasingly popular, not just for fans, but for NBA teams. What once was considered one tool amongst many, over time has taken over more, occupying space for the entire toolbox. Nowadays, analytics reign supreme and tell compelling stories about players. It's not just basic formulas either. These guys have a stat for everything, and they lean on these metrics heavily. But what happens when analytic stats tell you that a player that breaks conventional norms is a generational level talent? Would you still pick him? Well, that's the question that every scout in the lottery is going to have to answer when evaluating Kentucky guard Reed Sheppard. See, at first glance, Sheppard doesn't strike fear into anyone. For starters, he's a 6'3" white dude without explosive athleticism or noticeably elite ball handling skills. That alone pegs Sheppard as what NBA scouts call a tweener. Someone that doesn't have the skills to play the point guard position or the size to play shooting guard. However, Sheppard is forcing scouts to dig a little deeper thanks to his peculiarly remarkable stat lines. Let's start with the basics, shooting. The NBA's seen all sorts of elite shooting prospects come through the ranks. Stars such as Ray Allen, Kyle Korver, Stephen Curry, J.J. Redick, and Klay Thompson all shot lights out at the college level. At different stages of their college careers, each of them managed to shoot over 40% from long range. Korver and Allen were two of the best three-point shooters in college history. Each of them hit around 45% of their threes throughout their college careers. Reed Sheppard is currently shooting 51% in his freshman season for Kentucky. Now, it's way too early to say Sheppard will be this good a shooter at the NBA level, but as stated earlier, these stats truly are compelling. And his shooting mechanics are as clean and consistent as they come. But naysayers will definitely point out that at 6'3", no matter how quick his release, it'll be tough for him to get open shots at the NBA level. It's true, people said the same thing about other players like Steph Curry and J.J. Redick, and still these guys managed to become two of the greatest shooters the game has ever seen. I repeat, this isn't us saying Sheppard will become an all-time great three-point shooter. We're just merely pointing out that in his freshman season, he's been more accurate than any other freshman prospect we can find in league history. If you can find a freshman that hit 2 threes per game in his freshman year at a clip above 51%, let us know in the comments section. On top of that, Sheppard is extremely efficient from inside the arc as well. From two-point range, he's shooting 53%, even better than he shoots from long range. But Sheppard's game isn't just about shooting. He's so much more than that. In fact, as of this writing, Reed Sheppard is on pace to break Rajon Rondo's all-time Kentucky Wildcats record for steals in a season. Sheppard's 2.7 steals per game ranked the highest of any freshman in the country. And they also compared as some of the great ball thieves in NBA history. Players like Allen Iverson, Marcus Smart, Rajon Rondo, and Chris Paul all finished their freshman college season within a decimal point or two of Sheppard's average. And I've got to add, Sheppard comes off the bench for Kentucky. Sheppard doesn't just jump passing lanes either. His defensive metrics across the board rank peculiarly high for a vertically challenged player. Sheppard regularly racks up blocks as well, and when he forces turnovers, he's elite at turning them back around into transition for easy buckets. Though he doesn't play point guard, Sheppard still manages to rack up over 4 assists and 4 rebounds per game. These numbers scream two-way superstar. But you know what doesn't? 6'3" white dude with limited athletic ability. Scouts are definitely worried that his lack of length and muscle will limit his defensive upside at the next level. At 6'3", there's no way he can switch on defense, right? And can he really guard the quickest guards in the NBA with his lack of strength and explosiveness? Seems doubtful. But the deeper we dig into his stats, they become harder and harder to ignore. For instance, box plus minus, also known as BPM, has become one of the most popular metrics used by scouts and analysts to measure basketball players' impact. The stat was put into use at the college level in 2010, and it's been quite accurate at predicting player success at the next level. BPM digs deeper than scoring. It looks at players' contributions in various areas like passing, rebounding, defense, and efficiency. When a player has a positive BPM, it indicates they're doing a lot of things right on the court that positively affect their team's performance. This includes making smart passes that lead to easy scores for teammates, grabbing important rebounds, creating steals, blocking shots, and generally making their team better when they're playing. Since 2010, the freshmen with the best BPM scores include Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, Chet Holmgren, Karl Anthony Towns, Evan Mobley, Derek White, DeLon Wright, Brandon Miller, Lonzo Ball, Joel Embiid, Reed Sheppard, and D'Angelo Russell. It's a revealing list. For starters, one thing you'll notice is that typically defensive stalwarts rank high in BPM. That's why very few of the top guards rank amongst the highest BPM players in their freshman season. You might also realize that the only players mentioned that didn't go top 2 in their drafts were Derek White and DeLon Wright. Keep in mind, DeLon Wright was the only one mentioned that returned for their sophomore season. Also, Reed Sheppard this season has been more accurate from 3 and has recorded more steals than any other player mentioned. If BPM tells the story, then barring injury, Reed Sheppard is extremely likely to become an all-star, and even more likely to become an all-defensive guard. But can we really rely on analytics? If you look at Reed Sheppard, he looks like he'll probably develop into a valuable role player, hopefully a starter. But maybe we're drastically underrating his potential. For example, in 2008, scouts doubted whether or not Kevin Love could become an NBA star. He put up sensational stats as a freshman at UCLA, but it seemed unlikely that a 6'8" white dude could be an elite rebounder and scorer in the NBA. So he dropped to 5th overall, but he went on to average over 15 rebounds per game for Minnesota one season. Now Love's an NBA champion, a 5-time All-Star, and a future Hall of Famer. What about Steph Curry? He was a legend at Davidson, but scouts said he was too skinny and didn't profile as a point guard and was too small to play shooting guard. So he dropped all the way down to 7th overall in 2009 after a list of players including Hasheem Thabeet, Tyreek Evans, Ricky Rubio, and Johnny Flynn. Whoops. And even more recently, scouts doubted whether Luka Doncic could become a star in the NBA because of his lack of speed and athleticism, so he fell to number 3 in 2018 despite having the most impressive stats coming into the draft. Then after drafting him, the Hawks traded him to Dallas for Trae Young and a future draft pick. Yikes. It's hard to imagine that these guys can sleep at night. It's true that these things go both ways, and we don't want to be the ones to say that Reed Sheppard will be a star in the NBA, because the eye test says that he won't be. We're just saying, crazier things have happened. But we want to know what you guys think. How good will Reed Sheppard be once he enters the NBA? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe for more sports news and insight.